And there we are. Welcome, everyone. We're live and actually missing Jose. He was here. Oh, here he is. Well, Jose, I don't see your face. Or maybe we'll see if it works out somehow. Well, welcome, everyone, to the Afterburn Soccer Show. We are live. It's Monday evening. We had another weekend of FC Dallas action.
Can you hear me?
We
Can you
can
hear me?
hear you. Can't see you. Um, don't know why your computer webcam is not cooperating with our live show, but hey, it happens. It's life. But we're getting the show going. We'll see. Jose will try to rejoin us here in a moment. You'll hear his voice at the very least. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to those who listen to the audio podcast later on in the week. We did have a good weekend of FC Dallas action. Not such a great weekend for North Texas. My name is Nathan Hill. I'm your host. You can follow me on Twitter, still on X at Nathan J. Hill. At some point, I'm getting off that website, but the soccer conversation keeps me connected. It's so helpful during rumor season to see which players are going where and everything. So I'll be there and connecting with other FC Dallas fans, media folks, as long as that's workable and there's not an alternative. So you can follow me there. But we're going to get into it today. We're going to take your comments or questions live, and we're going to talk about this weekend. FC Dallas getting their first away win of 2024, which is not a thing any of us wanted to be able to say at this point of the season. The team has had a couple of road games where they didn't play terribly. Maybe we're a bit unlucky, but also some road games where they just didn't show up and paid a price for it. And as such, they are not the place they want to be as a club. So it is something a bit sad.
Give me a minute.
Okay.
I'm having all sorts of issues.
All right. Well, take your time, Jose. I'm just kind of prepping it, getting the conversation going. So the first away win is not where anyone thought this team would be, but hey, you make a coaching change. You make a coaching change for a reason, because the team was playing pretty poorly at the start of the season. Luccin comes in and makes things much more interesting. FC Dallas looks like a new team despite bowing out of the Leagues Cup. We had a long break, and this big match against DC United loomed large, because the question was, can FC Dallas put a complete game together on the road? Because if they want to make the playoffs, if they want to have a shot, they're going to need all the points they can get from here on out, and especially away points. And so to be able to go to DC, to battle back after going down a goal, score 4 straight goals, give up 2 more, but still hang on for the win. I know that was an important moment for the club, for the team, for the coaching staff. Not perfect. I'm sure there are things that will be worth looking back at with film and everything. So let's just start there and get kind of a reaction. Jose, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Can't see you. I don't know what's up with your webcam. It just does not want to cooperate.
Yeah, it says it's working. Actually, I'm sure it's telling me it's working. I see the green light.
You don't have a little privacy thing over it?
No, everything looks cool. Everything looks legit on my end.
Some
All right,
cameras.
that's okay. So anyway, let's talk about the game. So
let's talk about the game. What were your reactions to the win, the crucial win?
Exciting. I mean, yes. Okay, so the second half was a downer, but the game was won in the first half. That game was over. 4-2. You're gonna be up a man. I mean, I don't really care what happened in the 11 against 10. I'm excited. It's a road win. I don't really care what everyone says about how bad DC United is. This is a team in FC Dallas that just could not get a break on the road. Could not. And so a win, I don't care how it happened. I don't care if it was luck or whatever. I'll take it. And then to have not one but 2 mid-season debuts there, and have them both play quite well. I mean, Ruan was just amazing, over right back. Remind us what a true attacking right back looks like. And Show, I mean, my expectations were Frazier. You know, come in, don't stand out, just don't be don't make mistakes, just play. And Show, initially, I think we all were a little nervous how he was playing, but once he got into the game, man, wow, that you got to admit for a guy that we really had low expectations for, and they were low. Everyone has to admit that. Anyone says otherwise, they were low. I mean,
Sure.
expectations have been surpassed by Show, and Ron was even better than advertised. It's hard for anyone to make a debut midseason and have a solid game, and to have two guys debut and make solid games. And mind you, before anyone throws out the FC Dallas is healthy, come on now. Jesus didn't start, Velasco didn't start, Musa didn't start, Delgado didn't start. So I don't want to hear that they're healthy. This is still pretty much a banged up in recovery. They might be healthier, but they're still in recovery team. And I can't help but be excited. If I sound excited, it's because I am.
Yeah, they are a healthier team, a mostly healthy team, other than the long term injuries. And of course, we wondered if Velasco would make an appearance. He didn't, which is probably good. The game state really wouldn't. It wasn't, they didn't necessarily need a playmaker to come on late to try to win something. So it's good to give him another week, let him take his time, acclimate. Good to see Jesus get minutes, even though Jesus was clearly pretty rusty out there. But yeah, I'm with you. In fact, let's jump to a clip right now. I asked interim head coach for FC Dallas, Peter Luccin, after the game about the debut from Show and from Ruan and how he reacted. Here's what he said.
They gave us like a freshness. They gave us like a bites, aggressiveness, and football. So this is exactly what we are looking for. This is exactly our our philosophy, sorry, and the FC Dallas. So they fit perfectly on what we want. And I would say in French, chapeau. Beautiful game from those two. I will say like a very good performance in the first half. We struggled a bit in the second half, but even struggling, I think that we fought, and everybody. I'm very proud about everybody, but it's just we have 8 games left, so be happy today, rest tomorrow, and coming back after tomorrow and thinking about the Colorado game.
So he was pleased with the contributions, and and I agree with you, Jose. Our expectations for Show were low. We knew he had more experience than Carl Sante, and would probably be something of an upgrade there. But we didn't know what to expect, and we didn't know if he was even going to be fit and ready to contribute in a meaningful fashion. And Ruan, I know, was coming in fit already, but maybe it worked out. Maybe we'll look back and say,
well, they both came in fit, which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they both played. Did they both play the full 90 minutes? I don't remember hearing either one of them getting subbed out. So, I mean, that's impressive. If you think about it, Show was pretty much in midseason shape himself.
Right. And I think and again, we've had this debate already. I know our friends at Big D talked about it, like, was crashing out of the Leagues Cup, was it a good thing? I think every team wants to stay in every competition and compete. So it was disappointing. But at the same time, given some weeks for the team to kind of reset, to practice, to get some guys healthy, and then to onboard a couple of players, because I think that showed that they've had some practices in their belt. They've gotten to know some of the team. But Ruan, I was just so impressed. It just was revelatory. And, we've had the debate about Tumasi, who has been sort of the starting right back since Reggie Cannon left. And Tumasi has had some good games. He's been a great squad player, but it's always been that final third that the team has lacked. And now Ruan comes in, and it just feels like the offense can breathe a little bit differently, can just move a little bit differently. his reading of space, his making plays go out wide, his interactions with the other team, linking up. It just was great. And then Show, yes, just I think he started out a little, getting his feet under him, but he was aggressive in moments, getting the ball forward. There's not much to complain about for a first game, and I'm sure he'll have some hiccups here and there, but boy, you can't ask for much more than that. Two guys coming in, getting their first starts, and contributing to a really valuable win.
But here's something more though to take into consideration. It's just that break was also needed so that Luccin could implement what he wanted to do instead of having to do this is what Nico was doing, let's take a hybrid version of that. This gave him a chance to fully focus on how he wanted the team to look, how he wanted him to attack and defend, and at the same time, he's gushing over the two new guys because they're his guys. They're the guys that clearly he brought in with the intention of being a more aggressive attacking team. And I think that's the one thing that surprised a lot of us is that, we weren't surprised that Ruan could attack, could be such a threat going forward. I think we were more than ecstatic at the fact that he was that and then some. But Show, we didn't know what to expect, and to see him progressing the ball, I believe he had an assist, and if he didn't have an assist, he made a key pass that led to an assist on more than one occasion. He was doing some progressive things that, frankly, we've only seen Ilara Mendy do.
Mm-hmm.
And just the thought that this guy, let's face it, I think there's still question marks about how good he is defensively because let's face it, DC United isn't lighting the league on fire.
Right.
But I do believe we like what we saw of him trying to progress the ball and be a modern attacking defenseman.
Well, yeah, and that's, I think, as I throw up some video highlights from the match, there were things to be disappointed about. Scoring 4 goals is fun. It's fun for the neutrals, but a frustration for FC Dallas when they normally have had one of the better defenses in the league. To give up 3 goals, and especially one of those goals when DC was down to 10 men, is not something I think that they're gonna give plaudits for. There's a lot of work to be done still in that defensive end of things. So yeah, I think whether Show's part of that, whether it's still for Luccin to try to get the right combination of players out there, to get the right strategy out there to get the most out of Ibiaga and Tafari and Farfan, who started as the third center back, which was interesting. An interesting little tweak there. Yeah, this was certainly a game that we can all breathe a sigh of relief. FC Dallas was fun to watch. In fact, I'll pull up here as we talk about one of those.
Let me add something on there though before you move on. And let's face it, that third goal had complacency written all over it. You're up 4-2. You're up a man. You got the game in the bag, and I think DC came out and desperation mode, even though they had 10 guys, and FC Dallas came out complacent, and that goal sort of woke them up. So I think this is one of those wins that a coach loves because they allowed 3 goals. He can hammer that team, even though they won 4-3 and got their first win in a row. He can go 3 goals allowed. That's unacceptable. Any other week we lose that game, and he can basically now drill them and push them hard. And they can't deny it. They say, yeah, you're right. 3 goals, one against a 10-man team. This is the kind of win that a coach loves because they did just enough bad in a win that he can then get on them.
Yeah, definitely work to be done, and there will be other teams that are not going to be as defensively a liability, perhaps, as DC United. so yeah, we're gonna have to see how this attack translates in. We're gonna see how the team can keep this stuff going. But definitely some really beautiful moments of just soccer again for this team, when at times it has not been pretty. It has been a tough season. In particular, that final goal for FC Dallas, the goal for Siki, just a wonderful turnover, kind of forced by Illaramendi's movement, and then just passing into an empty net for Siki.
Yes, an excellent team goal, basically, off the turnover, and that's what you like to see. And this team has shown flashes of that. They've shown themselves to be a good pressing team under Luccin, and even under Nico they did it. They just didn't get forward as much. They did not have enough people going forward under Nico to take advantage of those turnovers. And now you're seeing the opposite. Now you're seeing when they do force a turnover, they have enough attackers to create numbers, and they can afford to pass here and there and not be overrun by the defense, as we saw a lot under Nico. So It's just a different mentality. Placing your team in a more aggressive stance, and you love it. I mean, I think we now are getting our hopes up, like as Dallas likes to do to us, and now we're thinking, hey, the playoffs are not out of the question. We're only a point out, and frankly, had Nashville just won at home like they're supposed to against Austin, we'd be ninth place right now. But who would have thought Nashville was going to choke at home against Austin? I don't think anybody outside of Austin saw that coming.
Right. Yeah, so plenty to play for. Now, what's against FC Dallas is, I think, only 3 games left at home.
4.
Or 4 games, okay, and then the rest on the road. And so it's just, as Luccin said, about 8 games left. It's, they're going to have to figure out a way to get some points on the road if they want to extend their.
Well, in theory, if they just win out at home, if they win their 4 games at home, that should get them in. They only need 11 points in theory to get in. So you take care of your home games, and you should be in. I mean, that's without help. And any point you can get on the road will basically make sure that luck's taken out of the equation. And so the DC United win, we needed 1 win on the road. We got it. We got that win with the DC United win. So that's a huge weight off the shoulders. And now they just got to take care of business at home. They need 11 points from their last 8 games to, in theory, make the 9th seed. I think we like our chances with the way this team's been playing, and the fact that they're getting healthier. And let's see this team get healthy, and let's see it get some momentum going.
Yeah. So wow, we have really seesawed as FC Dallas fans watching. We have been through the emotional roller coaster of this season. And so, I just was watching the game, and I know when they gave up that early goal to Benteke, which is just the dude's prolific. Credit to him. What a great striker. But it just felt like for a moment, like you had all this. We've been anticipating getting back to FC Dallas, seeing a healthier team out there, and it felt like, oh, here we go again. Like the wheels are just gonna fall off. But to see the way the team continued to fight and battle, and to know that, hey, it's still a season. There's still a lot that can happen. And this team, I don't think any of us have seen the best of them yet. And so that bodes well for their stretch. And they'll be back at home this weekend. Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Musa last-minute scratch and then the early goal, those were, panic-inducing red flags right there. So yeah, you can say that it's something. But you know what? I think the one big negative that came out of this game is the fact that Paulie Nips is going to miss the next game against the Rapids, who won the 3rd place game against Philadelphia on penalty kicks, and are going to be coming off a high of having secured a CONCACAF Champions League spot. So definitely a team coming in a team that wasn't expected to do much in Leagues Cup, who knocked out Club America, who beat the Union. I mean, I don't want to say they're red hot, but they're other than their 4-0 loss to LA at LAFC, which was the one speed bump they hit in Leagues Cup, it's a team that comes in with some very, very good momentum right now. Coming into Dallas, and of course the fact that they've been our longtime bogey team, that means this is a game that Dallas has to figure out a way to get 3 points out of. They can't allow Colorado to come in here and either steal a point or steal 3 points.
And it's Star Wars night. You got to do it for the Force. You're right. I mean, I've seen other coaches sometimes say, every game is a playoff spot from here on out, is the playoffs, and I don't know if that's a good motivator or not, but you're right. It's nothing's going to be handed to FC Dallas the rest of the way, and hopefully we get to see Jesus kind of get back into form, and we see Velasco on the pitch. I think we'll see him on the bench for at least a couple of more games before. But because this lineup was pretty good. And by the way, let's just say that Jordan Farrington stepping up in the last minute with Musso had a knock. Just a great performance. Unlucky probably not to get a goal, but some really cheeky passes. The kid,
I believe he had 2 assists. So I mean, he was doing the work. Honestly, I think if Musa is okay to go next week, I think he just start Farrington in Pauly's spot. Really, I mean, he's shown he can play on the wing, and let's face it, outside of Pauly and Leggett, Farrington is your other really hot player right now. So I think you find an excuse to keep him on the field, and give yourself time to slowly bring along the injured players, the players who recover from injury. And that's the other thing. I mean, with the win at DC, yeah, sure, Jesus looked rusty, but you didn't really need him. He was just out there to shake off the rust. You got Delgado in to get a couple of minutes just so he can, shake off any lingering doubts that he might have. This is great. That was perfect. And now we need to see them do it again against the Rapids. Basically, it's better if Jesus, Velasco, and those guys can come in whenever the coach feels they can bring them in, as opposed to needing them to come in and produce. Having that all pressure off them as they recover is ideal for this
team. Good stuff. And by the way, congratulations to Sebastian Leggett with being named to the team of the week. 1 goal, 2 assists. Deserved. Great performance. The dude's on fire. Evidently, he and his girl, his former current fiance, Becky G, are back together, and maybe that has him getting his head in the right place. And just, but credit to that guy. What a game. How important he has been. So yeah, like we have a lot to look forward to. And by the way, kind of a funny thing too, like Jordan Farrington, our first round pick, who's played. I know the league doesn't give out a Rookie of the Year reward anymore, but he would definitely be in the mix, if not at the top of that list, with his performance. And not that he still hasn't. He's a young guy, still figuring things out. But meanwhile, it was just funny to see old Bartlett, Colin Bartlett, starting for DC, another guy that Dallas drafted in the first round, but didn't really earn his spot here. But he has bounced around and made a career in this league. Just another sign of how Dallas drafts pretty well, even if they don't shape out immediately, in Frisco. But they have a way of finding some guys with some qualities that can be utilized. So credit to the scouting department once again for FC Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knew that he was an athlete and just lacked the technical skill. And a guy who's a pretty good athlete, it can earn minutes in this league. There's needs for players with what he brings to the table. And yeah, kudos to him. It makes Dallas look good in the long run. I think in the short term we were all like, well, that guy didn't amount to anything. But look, here he is. He's actually started multiple games against FC Dallas. And I think we won all of them. So I'm pretty happy to see him start against us.
Yeah. Well, let's shift to North Texas, which is unfortunately on the other end of the scale. I don't know if these teams are going to have like some karma, kind of a relationship, an opposites. But there were 4 goals scored in St. Louis City as North Texas traveled up there. But the 4 goals were scored for St. Louis and against North Texas, and North Texas failed to get on the score sheet. Just one of those games that happens in a league of young players. North Texas, probably the best team, if one of the best, if not the best team in MLS Next Pro, and just had a stinker. Just didn't show up and were punished for it. And I think especially in the second half, they were already down 2-0. In the second half, they started, pushing to get something going, and St. Louis was able just to capitalize and get them on the counterattack and score 2 more goals. So it was just a really disappointing result. Nolan Norris did start with the team after his U20 CONCACAF of the U.S. Experience. So good to see him getting back in the minutes. But definitely one that team is going to wish they had back or had a do-over on. And, of course, they get to turn around and play Colorado as well this coming weekend. Don't know if you caught any of that one. There just weren't highlights. I think that.
Yeah, I do want to say though in their defense that St. Louis is currently the second best team in the Western Conference. So it's not like they went out and laid an egg against some bottom feeding team or some team on the fringes. St. Louis came to this match and they were motivated at home to show North Texas that they weren't going to run away with the Western Conference, just as they were. And mind you, they're still 3 points ahead of even though they lost, North Texas is still 3 points ahead of St. Louis and of any other team in the league, really, despite that loss. Mm-hmm. So, and it's the hiccup of playing younger players. You're going to have moments where it just doesn't click. And usually it's going to be on the road. So hopefully it's a hiccup and not something there that other teams can exploit. And honestly, even if there is, I think there's very few teams capable of exploiting them the way St. Louis did. So it's good to know that as long as North Texas keeps winning, the rematch will be in North Texas and not St. Louis.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. One of those learning experiences for that young squad. And, the post-game comments, the team was pretty quick just to say, we just didn't show up. It just wasn't our night. And, we got to learn from this and move forward. And that's all you can do in those moments. Still, of course, so much to play for that team. But they need these learning moments too, to keep them grounded. I think these young players just need to keep their feet on the ground a bit, and not be so confident that they're going to run over everybody in the league, because they aren't. They're they have to keep growing, have to keep grinding. So,
they play the Rapids next, and the Rapids are the second worst team in the West. It's in Dallas. Then they got the 2 road games will be tough because they got to play LA Galaxy, 2. Who are the 3rd place team in the West, and they got to play the Whitecaps, who are the 6th place team in the West. And then they travel. Then they got Austin as the 4th game. So 2 easy opponents and 2 very tough opponents in their next 4 matches.
Yeah.
And the 2 easier opponents are at home, and the 2 tougher opponents are on the road. So should be interesting to see how this team rebounds against what should be a easy victory in the Rapids.
Mm-hmm. Well, good stuff. I think we're going to leave it there. Just a more optimistic feeling for FC Dallas fans. Big away win. Hopefully it sets the stage for this team just to keep improving in every way they can and making a good, solid run to the end of the season. Before we close off, I guess we can. This is going to be a question we'll ask probably every week, Jose, which is, Peter Luccin. What is that interim tag going to get dropped off? Is it a matter of when at this point, or I don't know. I think in the short term, since he's taken over, it really has looked like a different team, a team that we wish we could have seen from the beginning of the season.
Correct.
And sometimes it was just not necessarily disrespecting what Nico brought, the foundation that Nico built there. In some ways, it's just tweaks to get the team moving a little bit differently, thinking differently, attacking differently, and it's made a lot of difference. Not perfect. The team still looks like they have some roster work to do, but as a coach, to see what he has brought, I think it's been very positive. I think we'd all say that. The question is just, is it, even if they don't make the playoffs, has he done enough to say, look, he needs more time and he can lead this team to the future?
Well, I think if he doesn't make the playoffs, he's not getting the job. I mean, I think that's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But I will revise my previous observation, which I thought not only did he have to make the playoffs, but he had to at least win a match or two in the playoffs to secure the job. I would say if he can secure a playoff spot before decision week, that might be enough. If the team can basically clinch a playoff spot, a week or two before the actual playoffs start and are playing for positioning, I think that's something that could definitely secure him the job ahead of before. Because let's face it, one thing the team could do, the owners could do, is if they secured the playoff spot ahead of schedule, before the season ends, they could then reward him by making him the permanent manager and try to basically give the team something to give the team momentum and say, hey, look, we're going to reward him before the playoffs by making him the manager, and then maybe that'll push the team to keep, to know that they're going in the right direction and keep the momentum going. So that's one thing I think I would say.
Well, good. Okay. I think we'll be checking in on that to see what folks, because I'm sure there's going to be another loss or a disappointing result here or there. I mean, it's every team at this point of the season is pushing, fighting, and clawing, and so it's there are going to be some draws, there are going to be some challenging matches, but I just say he has brought necessary changes to the way this team has played. I think Matt Doyle from Major League Soccer certainly has acknowledged that, but the question will be, do you still go through a process? Do you still search and look at other candidates, which there will be? Or do you like what you have here in-house? I think so. He's making a case that he can improve this team even further, I think. But, you're right. It's going to be interesting to see just sort of how Dan Hunt and company kind of judge all that.
Yeah, he's making a very solid case for himself at the moment, and now he just has to see it through to the end.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave it there. Of course, we'll post the audio tomorrow on afterburn.soccer for those who are listening later. And, of course, we love it when you comment, when you share stories and interact with us. And, of course, when you join us live. But, Jose, thanks. Hopefully we get these tech issues worked out. But a good show. A good weekend for FC Dallas. All right.
It's always a good show when it's a good weekend for the team.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, good night, everybody. See you soon.
Good night, guys. See ya.